Brr, ye skipping wanderers. Ready for a tale as tall as a titan and twice as strange? Hoist ye midsails and batten ye wits, for ye heading into the black seas of wild space, where monsters float like moons and magic burns hotter than any sun.
In October of 1989, AD&D reached for the skies, and Wildspace was their first published Spelljammer adventure. If you take That's No Moon, it's a space station from Star Wars, and add a hint of Fantastic Voyage, the 1960s film where a team of scientists are shrunk to microscopic size and travel through a human body in a tiny submarine, you'll end up with this adventure. Only here, the heroes aren't inside a living thing. They'll be exploring a colossal asteroid carved by beholders of the Sazaur Empire. The asteroid ship is called the Hive, and it is an 800-year-old monument commemorating the Sazaur's dead queen, a mutant beholder that lived for 900 years and of such tremendous size her central eye measured 3 feet across, and her smaller ones are the size of soccer balls. The back cover of this adventure says it is the largest dungeon ever created. Now how's that for a premise of an adventure? And doesn't that already sound more exciting than the introductory adventure included with the 5e slipcase? Well, obviously, this must be an adventure of extremely high level, right? You know how we old folk complain that 5e is boringly easy? Well, this adventure was 2nd edition AD&D, and the suggested character levels were 6th through 8th. Did I mention a Beholder Armada is arriving soon, and the end fight is with a planet-destroying ship and multiple advanced scout beholders? Yeah. These kids have it so easy today. The arrival of the Beholder fleet is the apocalyptic backdrop, the ticking clock that raises the stakes. The adventure was intended as a way to introduce characters to the Spelljammer universe. It begins when suddenly a massive ship's anchor comes crashing out of the sky into a crowded marketplace. It's tied to a magical infinite rope that stretches endlessly upward. When the curious heroes investigate, typically by climbing the rope and onto the Skyrunner, they will meet the flamboyant Captain Jon Tobart. He says he's on a mission to save the world from a monster called the Ravager. His flying ship, the Skyrunner, appears to be a standard Spelljammer, a medium merchant vessel designed for both atmosphere and wild space travel. It's described as a merchant galleon filled with a spelljamming helm. Captain Tobart is a friendly and persuasive merchant adventurer, seeking brave souls to help him on a vital mission. He needs assistance hunting and destroying the Ravager, which he describes as a weapon that has already defeated entire planets, and that the player characters must destroy it before it destroys their homeworld. Once aboard, he remains very friendly until small cracks in his disguise begin to emerge. He becomes stern, condescending, and impatient, reflecting his true nature as Shazogrox, the Beholder Mage. However, if the PCs begin to catch on, he will claim he was cursed by a Beholder and thus explain away his mood swings. The DM must be very careful not to reveal his true identity until the end. Also, he has a bodyguard named Stonecrop, described as a big armored man. However, if the PCs are ever very close to Stonecrop, they might notice a foul smell, like rotting flesh. Stonecrop is a flesh golem. If revealed by the PCs, Tobart will act shocked and surprised. He says he had no idea.
I am shocked and appalled.
To my knowledge, this was the first major narrative appearance of Beholder Mage as a central antagonist. Oh yes, the classic misdirect. True to his kind, Shazogrox views all other species as germs deserving only of complete annihilation. We'll talk more about that later. A Beholder Mage casts spells through their eye stalks, known as spell stalks. When Captain Tobart casts, his eyes change colors corresponding to his spell stalk in use. His disguise is maintained through constant casting of Polymorph self and a ring of invisibility, but he can only hold his human form for 2 hours at a time, forcing him to frequently retreat to his cabin. His absences, together with his odd habits, gradually make the PCs uneasy. Hey, you know what else makes the PCs uneasy? The crew. There's something odd about them. You see, prior to the beginning of the adventure, Shazogrox landed on the PC's homeworld and polymorphed several dozen animals. Some died in the process. Most remained animalistic. realistic, but 20 transformed entirely, becoming humans in all respects except for a few minor quirks. Tobart told these new humans that he had rescued them from a wizard who had transformed them into animals. The former beast accepted this story out of gratitude. Therefore, Tobart's crew is understandably loyal, but most are confused about why they cannot remember their past lives. After the Skyrunner leaves the PC's homeworld, it travels through space to find the Hive, where the Ravager is located. This part of the adventure was designed to teach the players the mechanics of AD&D Spelljammer campaign setting: gravity planes, air envelopes, ship-to-ship combat, and space hazards. But they aren't just filler. A few of them carry a narrative purpose. Early on, the Skyrunner is attacked by space marauders, typically Nyagi raiders or human pirates depending on the DM's preference. This purpose is to teach ship-to-ship combat, how ramming works, and how the crew interacts in a Spelljammer battle. This is also intended to build trust between Tobart and the PCs. Tobart acts like a brave, capable captain. It's his Han Solo moment. Also, during travel, the Skyrunner passes space-dwelling creatures, such as the Scavers, small asteroids, or a derelict wreck. These are exploration encounters meant to teach navigation and air management. There's an interesting twist to the story of the now deceased Sazaur Queen that many DMs might miss. In the DM notes, it tells us the Queen actually died in battle, leading the genocidal campaign that wiped out rival Beholder nations, but the murals in the central chamber imply she died of natural causes. This isn't a contradiction. This is sanctified revision propaganda fabricated by the surviving Sazaur Beholders. The adventure takes us inside an asteroid carved out by Sazaur Beholders called the Hive. PCs are tasked with retrieving the long-dead Queen's mummified magical eyes before the Beholder Armada arrives. Each eye is a minor artifact and found in a chamber where the powers of the eye manifest. There's a room powered by the disintegration eye, and every eye is greatly magnified in power. After collecting every eye, the Ravager is born. The adventure text describes the Ravager as a huge crystal in the shape of a decahedral, a 10-sided destroyer of worlds. Shazogrox plans to first destroy the oncoming Beholder Armada and then the PC's homeworld, just because he can, unless the PCs can stop him. I won't give away too much more, but there's a huge, glorious infight, as I mentioned at the start. A world-destroying supership and beholders. It's epic. The adventure's design probably began with a single terrifying thought. What's deadlier than a beholder? How about an entire asteroid carved into a beholder's tomb, where each chamber embodies one of its eye powers, and the heroes must recover every one of them? That's not just one MacGuffin, it's 11. Now, I have some interesting final thoughts about this adventure. It is deceptively complex and a joyride with a final battle that reads like it was taken directly from a West End Games Star Wars D6 adventure. And here was a surprise I stumbled across. From the story background on page 2, we're told this adventure centers on the space-born race of beholders. Many subspecies of beholders exist, all with the same monstrous features and powers, but varying in skin color and texture, configuration of eyes, and so on. The assumption is that beholders in different environments evolved through very rapid genetic deviation and drift. As described in the Spelljammer box set, these differences produce deep racism among beholders. Generally, beholders hold few ideas higher than destroying each other. The subspecies organize into nations and wage cold war on one another. And later on page 58, when describing the main antagonist, Shazogrox, we are told he is not clear-headed even when compared to his fellow racist beholders. Intellectually, he knows the principles of leadership, yet the genetic hatred and intolerance of beholders runs deep. In Wildspace, the beholders' racism literally destroys their empire. Wow. Can you imagine? The entire species destroying itself from something so ignorant as a different color of skin? I feel like there's a word for this adventure and campaign setting. What it was trying to promote. Maybe 4 letters, starts with a W. Can't quite put my eye stalk on it. I ran this adventure back when it was brand new, and because it's the very first Spelljammer adventure module ever published, I wanted to revisit it. The enormous scale of the Beholder asteroid was so new to D&D, it grabbed my interest and imagination, so I believed this video would be a fun video. But when I read it again, I found something I hadn't appreciated back then. TSR had written a very deliberate allegory about racism, explicitly showing how hatred destroys civilizations. The Beholders didn't just hate adventurers or elves, they hate each other for having different skin colors and textures. They commit genocide over this. TSR didn't hide that message. It's right there in the opening paragraphs. So when juvenile flim-flam artists sit on their golden moral thrones, decrying the supposed rampant racism in early D&D as they justify putting sombreros on half-orcs, remember, you can't debate assholes or idiots. They'll beat you with experience every time. Thank you so much for watching this. I'm your host and friend, Atten. Take care.
Why does the sun keep chasing the moon? What makes the tide rising soon? I see the stars, they blink.